All right, let's get started. Parents, welcome to this workshop. This is a coding workshop where your kids are going to make a 3D game, and not just a 3D game, but a virtual reality, augmented reality game. So we'll talk about what that is in just a few minutes. I wanted to introduce myself, and I also wanted to get to know some of you. My name is Anshul. I started coding when I was quite young, in I think ninth grade, and have been coding since then. And actually have been teaching coding to young kids across the globe since then. I'll tell you a little bit more about my story in a couple of minutes. Today, we're going to be building on top of. We're going to use a technology that's slightly more advanced than Scratch, but still accessible for both your kids. So the younger kids today are going to code in the block-based programming language that Scratch also uses, and the older kids are going to learn a new programming language called JavaScript. JavaScript is the language of the internet. Every website, anywhere, is built using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So JavaScript is a programming language that powers everything in our world, and I'll tell you more about that. But I'm very excited to have you guys here. And my goal to you, to the mom, and to all the other moms and dads we have here, is that by the end of this session, my goal is that your children would have created a project that they can share with you and with friends and family after this by sharing their own link, their unique link. So they're going to make a game that they can share with all of you. So parents, while you're here, let me also just introduce myself. I'm just going to do this now because I don't think your kids care. We're going to dive into coding with them. But for you, let me just give you some background. So my name is Anshul, and I studied computer science as my formal background. I was at MIT in Boston. I stayed there for about 5 years, 4 years as an undergrad, 1 year as a master's student. I worked in big tech companies like Google, etc. But ultimately, my interest has always lied at the convergence of teaching and technology. So even when I was at MIT, my master's thesis was building a platform called App Inventor to teach coding to kids. And that's used by about 15 million kids today. And that was a very empowering experience for me. So I decided that I want to spend the rest of my life not working for these big companies, but building a platform through which we could make these skills of the future accessible to more people. So today I run a company called Camp K-12. Camp K-12 is an online school for 21st century skills. And we connect teachers from across the globe with students from across the globe in a really small group, one-on-one or small group manner. And we teach skills that we think are not always taught in the school system, or at least not taught in the best way possible. And we have created an awesome curriculum, which you'll get exposed to today on how to learn those skills. So that's a bit about me, my background. And one other side story that I've actually put here is I think there are a lot of side effects, positive side effects of coding, not just in terms of expanding the way you think, but also in terms of helping you do well in the formal education system and the college system. Coding actually helped me get into college. I wasn't really I didn't really have anything on my resume other than the stuff I've coded. So I used to code about 4 hours a day in high school back when I was in school. And I had a bunch of websites that I'd made. I had a bunch of Java applications and a bunch of games that I'd built from myself, from my teachers, from my friends. I would take that on a laptop to every college interview I went to. My first interview was Yale. I got in, and then I went to all the other interviews, Stanford, Harvard, MIT, etc. And I think always it allowed me to really showcase how I think and how I like to create. So some of the kids here are in I think grade 10 was there was one kid in grade 10, and a lot of kids who are much younger, like grade 7, grade 6, grade 5, all the way down to grade 1. So a lot of you don't have to worry about it, but I think coding does open up a lot of doors in the world, and it's one of those things that's good for your brain and your mind, but also good for life outcomes. So it's a skill that I feel is like the new math or the new English these days. And that's why I've dedicated my life to teaching it. All right, I'm going to switch over to the kids. So I want somebody to tell me, what is virtual reality? Raise your hand. What is VR? Someone who can tell me what VR is. Jefferson, I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. Go ahead. What is VR?
VR is pretty much you wear a headset and it's not real, but it feels real. It's pretty much like
Why? Yeah, why does it feel real?
because you wear it and it's pretty much like a light, but you can control it.
And when
Pretty
you
much.
look around, you actually see different parts of that world, right? Yeah,
Yes.
I think Honey Irisare is acting it out. Honey, I'm gonna put you on unmute. Thank you, Jefferson. We're gonna ask your team.
Actually, my name is Zyril Kalikiamba Irisare.
Okay, got it. I don't know
Because
if I'll
that
be able
name
to
was
do that.
actually mom's name.
That's okay. That's all right. Go for it. You were acting it out. What is virtual reality? What does it allow you to do?
A round circle. You can look around anywhere,
Hmm.
and and you can feel, touch everything. Like, yeah,
Yeah,
I used to have
the
one, but
touch
it
is
broke. I
the touch is
broke it.
advanced. If you have those haptic gloves, then yeah,
Yeah,
you can touch.
I tried
You
that
mentioned
once in a convention.
sure. You mentioned circle. Does anyone know what a 3D version of a circle is called? Yeah, Jackie Brown. You're definitely not Jackie Brown, but I don't know your name. Go
My
ahead.
actual name's James. I'm just using
James.
my mum's computer for
No,
this.
that's okay. We'll be making that
The
mistake.
3D version of a circle is a sphere,
Is a sphere, yeah. And so
and
I think,
the
yeah,
thing about a sphere, it doesn't have a 3D. It doesn't have a net.
it doesn't have a what? A
A
net?
net. Okay, you can make a cube out of 6 squares.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's
exactly.
basically a net.
No, it's awesome. That's awesome. So you guys are very advanced. You're actually taking this question really deep, which I love. In a virtual reality environment, it's not a flat screen like our laptop. It's not a flat screen like our phone, because when you look up, you actually see a different part of the spherical world around you. It's not a circular world; it's a spherical world. So you can actually look up, down, left, right, forward, and back. And in math class, some of you guys are learning about x-axis and y-axis. In virtual reality in 3D, you actually have this one also, forward and back, which sometimes is called the z-axis and sometimes the names are flipped, but that's what virtual reality is. And it's called virtual reality because it kind of feels real, but you're in a virtual world, right? Can anyone tell me? So I'm going to ask you a slightly more advanced one. This one is called augmented reality. This is Pokemon Go. How many of you guys know what augmented reality is? Who can tell me what AR is, augmented reality? Someone other than the folks who volunteered last time. I see Abhirami. All right, my mouse cursor has vanished. Shelly, can you call
My
on them?
name is actually Neeraj, but
Okay.
I think augmented reality is like using a device to capture something that is not really here with an electrical device.
Okay. I think you're onto the right track. I didn't understand what you said by electrical device, but I loved what you said about something that's not really there, but it looks like it's there. So it's different from virtual reality, because in virtual reality, we are being teleported into a virtual world. In augmented reality, a virtual object is being augmented on our real world. In English, the word augmented means like enhanced. And so it's enhancing our reality by adding digital virtual objects that are not actually there. If you guys have played Pokemon Go, that Pikachu is not actually there, but this game is so fun because you can walk up and collect the Pikachu. And you can see other Pokemon around you. It was one of the first mainstream augmented reality games. However, when you guys are older, maybe in just a couple of years, augmented reality is going to be everywhere. And companies like Apple and Facebook are spending so much money and resources on building the next generation of devices, not phones. Like I'm holding my phone. You guys probably have your phone around you. But the devices beyond phones, like the next generation of computing devices, which aren't going to be flat, but they would allow us to access our entire 3D space. So, virtual reality and augmented reality, today people talk about them just in the context of games, but they're much more than games. They are a new way of computing which unlocks your 3D world around you. And guys, speaking of games, today we play games like these. We play Roblox, Minecraft. I've been reading on the chat thread. Everyone seems to play some 3D game. Well, the reason I started with this, guys, is today I'm going to teach you how to make a 3D game that you can also run on your phone as a virtual reality app or as an augmented reality app. I have opened up to a page that has a bunch of examples with projects made by other people. And for those of you who have already coded before, the platform we're using today, it's built for beginners as well as advanced coders. So I want to show you what others have made. Can you guys see my screen? Thumbs up. Roller coaster. All right. So here's a roller coaster project built on the platform we're going to use today, where you actually follow along the roller coaster. There's a lot of math in that one. This one has some physics and math as well, because you're making a bird bounce. How many of you have played Flappy Bird? Flappy Bird, the 2D game where you just tap. Yeah. Now check it out. This is Flappy Bird 3D. Let's play it. Let's play it together. this is built on the same platform we're using today. It's 3D, so I can look around. And I'm gonna intentionally die. I just died. I just died again. But look, I can look around. Oops. All right, I think you get the point. You get the point. So let me close that one. Let's see what else is here. Here's a math application which graphs your equations in 3 dimensions. 2D is so boring, right? And this is 3D. Here's a game which you guys will actually get to build, not in this class, but the next class. It's an obstacle. It's like an obstacle course with the coin collection and like a ghost chasing you. Oh, this one, I think people like this one. So if you guys play Roblox, Minecraft, Fortnite, with Hatch, the platform we're learning today, you can actually make your own first-person shooter games or first-person anything else games. So this one is it takes a little bit of time to load. So we're just going to give it a few seconds. Can you guys still see my screen? Thumbs up if you can. Okay. It's going to load for you right about now. There's going to be a bunch of boxes falling down. Wait for it. Wait for it. You can hear the audio, the background soundtrack. All right, here we go, guys. This is a game built on the platform we're learning today. And you're supposed to shoot the frisbees to get score, which requires a lot of hand-eye coordination. Oh, I don't know if I hit it. But there's a lot of physics in this one. Look at this. Look at how everything collides. I can actually climb up on the house. All right. So this is a game built by someone. Now, if you guys want to see behind the scenes, it takes a little bit of time to get to this one. So to get to this level where you can code this, let me close this. I've just clicked edit. And I'm going to show you what this looks like. Let's look at what the code looks like for this game, just to show you that you can actually make it. So this is the game environment. You can actually make the house float in the sky if you want. Anything is customizable, guys. Anything is customizable. I can make a floating house, these trees. Let's make the trees float also. All right. Now, when you go to code, you see the code in this game. Here it is. This is the code for this game. And I'll lower the volume a bit. All right. Here's the code for this game. And you will notice that there are 142 lines of code. So not too bad. 142 lines of code to make this game. The game we're making today is just going to have 4 lines of code. But you can work your way up to making advanced games like this. Let me close this. All right. Let's go back to the examples. Now, Minecraft. I think I promised young David Minecraft, our first grade champion over here from, I think he was in the UK. This is a Minecraft game. So if I play this one, I can have young Steve running around on a Minecraft terrain, which you can customize and make whatever you want. You can add an ocean, you can add lava, you can add whatever. You can make it talk to other things in the environment. So, you know, you can make anything that you can imagine using the platform we're using today. Awesome. Guys, thumbs up if you have opened up a Rocket template. Good. So here it is. I want to show you how Hatch works. Hatch is a 3D version of Scratch. Okay, so Scratch is 2D, Hatch is 3D. Scratch is based on blocks coding, but Hatch is based on text-based coding, like professional languages like JavaScript. JavaScript is a professional language. So if you work at Google, you work at, I don't know, Uber, you work at Instagram, you work at any of these companies, they use JavaScript along with a bunch of other languages. There are many programming languages out there, but Hatch allows you to use the language of the internet, JavaScript, to make 3D games, which has not been possible before. All right. Our team built this. So my team and I at Camp K12 made this product, and we are using it to make you guys, allow you guys to make awesome games. All right. So let me show you how this works. I want to show you how the design interface works. So I'm going to ask you guys to help me out. So first of all, notice this is a rocket. I can move the rocket in the up or down direction by dragging the arrow that says Y. Okay, let me zoom in a bit. This is the arrow that says Y. This is the arrow that says X. And this is the arrow that says Z. Okay, so let me ask a question, guys. If I want to make the rocket fly today using code, in which direction will I be moving the rocket? Is it X, is it Y, or is it Z? Anyone? Just chat the answer. Which direction do I move the rocket to make it fly? Good, you guys all got it. I need to move the rocket along the Y direction, okay? Good, you've gotten the first math principle of the game that we're making today. Now I wanna show you guys a little bit about the world that we're in. and how to customize it. So if I click the ground here, boom, and I can see on the right side of the ground, I can see that there are all of these colors options, color 1 and color 2. I want you guys to tell me what color our ground should be. So someone just chat and tell me a color. All right, we have green. Oh, brown. It's already brown. We have green and blue. Let's try green and blue. So color 1. Whoa, okay. Blue. What kind of blue? Like this kind of blue? This kind of blue? Green and red would be crazy. Some of you guys are saying red. Okay, light blue, light blue. So I agree, guys. Green and light blue is pretty good. Now let's change the ocean color. So if you just click the ocean on the left and you'll see a color option, give me a color for the ocean. Golden. Okay, I think golden was for something else. Give me a color for the ocean. Golden. All right, golden it is. Golden. Is this golden? This is golden. All right, this is golden. I can change how transparent I want it to be. If I don't want it to be transparent at all, I make it like this, or I do 0.9, 0.8. Let's do 0.9. All right. We have a golden lake, which actually looks really awesome. Now, what if I told you this rocket comes with a flame and we can color the flame as well? So if I go to play, here's my rocket's flame. It's not flying yet, but it's got a flame, and I'm in a 3D world with a golden lake and a green and blue ground surrounding. So now I want you to tell me, what color should I make the flame? So go ahead, guys. What color should we make the flame? Pink. Ooh, I have not seen pink flame before. Pink and red. All right, let's try that. So if you open up the rocket, it's a folder here. If you open up the rocket, you will see there's a fire trail inside it. All right. The flame is a child of the rocket. Cameron, you are a genius. You already know how these systems work. You're completely right that there is a concept of nesting objects inside each other. So you can put the flame inside the rocket. Why? Because that way, when you move the rocket, the flame moves with it. Whereas if the flame is not inside the rocket, then it doesn't move with the rocket. So we have some 3D pros here, and that's awesome. Maybe a Roblox developer. So here we go. I'm going to change the color to pink and red. Pink. And let's just make it a different kind of pink. Pink and purple. All right, let's try that. Now if I go to play, so it's pinkish. It's pinkish. There we go. It's pinkish whitish because it's flame after all. And a bunch of these particles are stacking up on top of each other to give that look. Okay. So in 3D game engines, this is called the particle system. A flame is a particle system. Like imagine a chimney with smoke coming out of it. That's also a particle system. And we can add any number of things. Like if I want to add clouds, I can do that using a particle system. When you start making games, these kinds of phrases, you will encounter them a lot. Like a particle engine or particle system allows you to create things like smoke and fire and flames. Okay. Now, one more thing, guys. I want to customize this. I'm going to introduce you to Hatch via this top toolbar. So you have the ability to add any 3D models. So here we are. Can you guys give me something to add? Anything. State your heart's desire, and I will add it from the internet. All right. All right. Potato. Let's add a giant potato. So this platform is plugged in the internet. Anything you want to search from Google in terms of a 3D object, you can. Do you want French fries? Okay, so potato like this one, the edible kind, right? Someone's cut it open. We'll add that potato and we'll add a blobfish. A blobfish. All right. I don't know what a blobfish is. I think it's one of those poofy fish. Blob monster. Okay, there's all these fishes. If you don't find it on Google Poly, you can also search Sketchfab, which is an even bigger internet repository of everything. So blobfish. Narwhal. Blobfish man. 14 MB, so it's locked. I can add an animated narwhal. How about that? Okay, an animated object has that little icon next to it, the lightning icon. Okay, if you close it, you'll see my narwhal is here. There it is. My narwhal is here. I want my narwhal in the water. Okay, so I'm going to move it down a bit. I can also increase it a bit. I can increase the scale. Let me introduce you to scale. You see this arrow? It represents scaling. So you can just make it bigger. Now, how do you animate the object that you've dragged, which has a built-in animation? You'll see on the right side, the narwhal has a built-in animation. Ooh, it has all of these. It has an attack animation. It has a death animation. It has a splash, jump and splash. Wow, guys, we are in luck. There's so many animations on this one. I didn't make this object. Someone put it on the internet. I just fetched it from the internet. So I'm going to take the jump, whatever this is. Okay, eat, attack. Let's do it, attack. Okay, we're going to see what this is. Now I'm going to go to play. Actually, one more thing. I'm going to go to environments and I'm going to add some rain and some snow. Okay, just to show you how this works. I could have added a Minecraft terrain for those of you who like Minecraft from here, but I don't think we need a Minecraft terrain. If we do it, it looks like this. That's kind of random. We don't need a Minecraft terrain. Or do you guys want one? You want a Minecraft terrain? Yeah, say yes over chat if you want a Minecraft terrain. Okay, cool. You guys want a Minecraft terrain. All right, let's go check it out. This is a pretty YOLO environment, guys. There's my attacking narwhal. You see it? And I have my rocket. And didn't I add one other thing? I had a potato. There's a potato on the Minecraft environment. Okay, cool. So we are building our project. Now I want to show you how to code the rocket, okay? So here we go. Let's go to code. So just go to code. At the top, you'll see tabs, design, code, and play. When you go to play, that's how you preview whatever you've created. When you go to code, that's how you add interactivity to your game. That's how you make any two objects in your game interact with each other. So right now, what I want to do is I want to make the rocket move up. Okay, so my goal as a coder is to make the rocket move up. Coding is a superpower. Okay, whatever you want to do, you can do it. And so I'm going to make the rocket move up. Now, what I need to do to make the rocket move up is teach you guys one line of code, which is called set y. So rocket.setY. I'll do it first, and then I'll talk about what it is. Here it is. Rocket.setY 10. This in JavaScript means take the rocket 3D model and set its y position, which you saw earlier is a position along the up and down y axis, to 10 meters above the ground. Now the ground is slightly below the ocean. So, let's say a little bit above the ocean. Or I'm moving it to 10 meters above the ocean. How much is 10 meters? Let's try it. Run the script. Okay, so rocket is here. It's 10 meters above the ground, right? Just type in the line rocket.setY and then type in 10, or type in 5, or type in 3 or 2. If you type in 2, let's see what happens. Here it is. Now rocket is partially underwater, which is kind of cool if you want the rocket to take off from underwater. Or you could add a launchpad 3D model. You could add a launchpad 3D model or an island in the ocean if you want to, and you can make the rocket take off from there. The world is your oyster when it comes to coding. You can actually do anything you want. Now there is in programming languages, there is a grammar, just like in English, there's a grammar. You have to follow the rules of the English language. You have to put the punctuation, like the exclamation mark or the comma or the period, wherever it needs to go. Similarly, in coding, there are rules and punctuation marks. So like you see that little semicolon at the end? This one's a semicolon. This is a semicolon. We use this a lot to tell the computer that one line of code is over. And now I'm going to the next line, okay? So at the end of a line, we put the semicolon. The rest of this, what this is telling you on the left side is, hey, I want to do something to the rocket. And the right side is telling you what you want to do to the rocket. It's called a function. So what we're doing is we're calling a function called setY on an object called the rocket. And then we're telling it whatever information the function needs in order to work. So a function is a block of logic that you want the object on the left of the dot to run. And then sometimes a function will need information, sometimes it won't. So if, for example, you wanted to, instead of setting I'll actually show you in a moment, guys. So set y, there's also a function called rocket.getY. Can anyone tell me what rocket.getY does? This one does not take a number between the brackets. Anyone guess? Tell me over chat. Anyone tell me over chat, what does rocket.getY do? What if I say this? No idea. Nice. Good. We're going to learn something. So getY, it simply retrieves the current position of the rocket. That's it. It doesn't do anything to the rocket. It simply fetches the current Y position of the rocket. Set Y changes the current Y position of the rocket. Let me show you another thing, okay? We're going to show you a very important concept in programming called variables. Has anyone heard about variables before? Variables? So a variable is a quantity that changes over time, okay? Now, the position of the rocket is a variable. So I'm gonna say var, which means variable, rocket position, okay, equals 5. What did I just do? I created a variable and I set the value of that variable to 5. A variable is a quantity that a computer saves in its memory. Think about how the human brain works. Somebody tells you something that, hey, don't forget to go buy eggs at 7 a.m. or at 10 a.m., right? Your mind stores that information. It creates all sorts of slots in your memory and it stores that information. The computer has a brain, and a variable sets aside some space in the brain of the computer to store a quantity. Now, what if I did this? Var rocket position equals rocket.get y. What I'm telling the computer is take whatever the rocket's current position is and put that in this variable because I'm going to use it later. A variable lets you store something and come back and use it later. So check this out. This is the magic, guys. If I take my set y command and instead of giving it the number 2, instead of giving it the number 2 or the number 10, what if I give it rocket position plus 1? What does that do? Can anyone guess? Can anyone guess what this line does? So yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm going to ask you to unmute yourself. Turquoise and black and green.
So what it would happen is it would take the rocket's current position and add 1 to its current y position, bringing it up a single how many whatever it measures it
1
in.
meter. Yeah, 1 meter.
Yeah, a meter.
Guys, everyone give him a round of applause. That was flawless. That was a very good explanation. So what he said was it takes the current position of the rocket, because rocket.getY gives you the current position of the rocket. It stores in a variable which we have named rocket position. We could have called it anything. Like I could have called it Taylor, var Taylor, which I'm seeing is one of the names of the people here. Or I'm seeing another name, Ryland. I could have called it Ryland. I can call it whatever I want. It's a variable, I can name it, but I call it rocket position. And then I used that rocket position. I added 1 to it. That's this. And then I said, okay, take that information, that new quantity, which is in the computer's memory, rocket position plus 1, and make that the new y position of the rocket. Now, let me teach you guys a very important concept. So this one moves the rocket. I'm writing in English, and this is called a comment. When you use a double slash at the beginning, the computer ignores it. This is just for you and me. So when I want to tell you something that I don't want the computer to see, hey, this is a secret. The computer can't see this. Okay, this is a comment. So moves the rocket up by 1. I'm simply writing it for you to see. Now, in games, how boring would it be if your bullet, when you fired a gun, suddenly went to the end? That would be quite boring, right? Like remember when you shoot something, if your bullet just suddenly teleported to the other side, it has to animate, right? It has to go smoothly, right, guys? When you fire a bullet in a game, it has to go smooth. When you make a rocket fly, it can't just suddenly go all the way up. It has to go smooth, unless you want it to teleport. Right now, we're not trying to teleport the rocket. We're trying to move the rocket. What that requires is animation. And animation is a very common concept in game development. What it means is you need to do something involving time. As time passes, you want to add some motion or do some motion as time passes. So what we're going to do, there are 2 ways to really make things happen over time in programming. Way number 1 is using what we call loops, which are a form of repeating something n number of times. The other way of doing it is using a timer. A timer is what we're going to teach you today. A timer is a clock which has an interval. So like your clock that's in your room right now or on your phone right now has an interval, which just means it waits a little bit and then it fires. By fire, I mean it tick-tocks, right? That's a clock. What we do in animation is we create a clock called a timer, and we tell the timer how often you want it to do something. And then we tell the timer, what do you want it to do? How often to do something and what do you want it to do? Those are the 2 important pieces of a timer that you use in animation. So Hatch, which is this game engine that allows you to make 3D games using JavaScript, if you look at the globals on the left, supports timers. And it gives you 2 options, create a timer or remove a timer. If you click create a timer, it pastes that in. It pastes in the timer. So I'm going to take my code, guys. I'm doing control X or command X if you're on a Mac. I'm on a Mac. That cuts it and I'm pasting it in here. Okay. And I'm indenting it by hitting tab. Okay. So I know that it's inside. So look at this. I have just said create a timer called clock timer, but I can rename it to whatever I want, rocket timer. I have, let me close this. You don't need this. This is the important part, guys. The 1000 here. 1000 means 1000 milliseconds. And that's equal to 1 second. Can anyone tell me how many millimeters in a meter? How many millimeters in a meter? Millimeters in a meter. How many centimeters in a meter? Does anyone learn this? You can chat it, guys. Yeah, 100 centimeters and 1000 millimeter, right?
10.
Exactly. You're right. So the milli prefix means there are 1000 millimeters in a meter, 1000 milliseconds in a second. Computers use milliseconds mostly because if you are making a game and you want to do something once a second, that's too slow. Games happen like super fast. If you want to shoot someone or you want a car to move and the car's only moving once a second, that's too slow. So you need the car to move faster, many times a second, which is why computers have a more granular way of looking at time, which is milliseconds. And there are 1000 milliseconds in a second. So if I make it 500, that's twice a second, right? Because 500 times 2 equals 1000. 500 is twice a second. So twice a second, I want to move the rocket up by 1. Okay, let's try what happens. It might be a little too fast, but we'll see. Run. Here we go. Here we go. It's not smooth. It's not smooth, but it's moving. It's going to go forever because I'm not stopping it. A timer doesn't stop on its own. That's why there's also a remove timer function. Okay, it's just going to go forever. Now, let me teach you guys a trick, and then I'm going to pass it over to you to customize. So I want to now make it move smoothly. So rather than moving 1 meter twice a second, I'm going to make it move 0.1 meter. Let's see what happens there. Okay, so it's moving less now every 500 milliseconds. So we're getting closer to a smooth motion. What I need now, guys, I need it to move even less. So 0.01, but no one's going to be able to see it move because it's only happening twice a second. So maybe make it 10 times a second. That's 100 milliseconds. So the concept I'm teaching you here for game development, for animation, oh, that's so slow. That is so slow. Look at that. It's very smooth, but it's so slow. How boring would this rocket be? Even the narwhal is attacking faster than that rocket is moving. Now, coding is a superpower and you can do whatever you want. So I'm going to do whatever I want and I'm going to make the rocket move more often. Let's make it move at 10 times the speed of this. So instead of 100 milliseconds, I'm going to say 10 milliseconds. Boom. And that's beautiful. Look at how smooth that is, guys. That is beautiful. That's perfect. And I can fly with it if I want and check it out from above. Here's my world, my narwhal, my Minecraft environment. In the next class, we're going to show you how to make a player that runs around the world you created. This time it's a rocket taking off. All right, now, guys, I'm going to show you how to run this thing. So first we're adding a toilet, then we're adding some text, and then I'm showing you how to run this thing. Okay, you guys wanted a toilet. You really wanted a toilet. Here we go. Okay, which of these toilets do you want? There are too many to choose from. Is the narwhal attacking the toilet? Is that what's happening? Okay, I have added a toilet and it is here. The narwhal is attacking the toilet. Amazing. Narwhal is attacking the toilet. Done. And oh wow, it's piercing through. Okay, now let's add some text to make it yours. So I'm going to add 3D text and we're going to give this game a name. I want you guys to tell me the name of this game. Give me some names. Give me some names. What do we call this game? Hitbox. All right. Any other names? Any other names? Aryan wants it to be Hitbox. We've got Fly the Toilet. Why don't we call it Fly the Hitbox? I don't even know what that means. We're going to combine the names. Fly the Hitbox. Okay. That's our game's name. And you could also add another one below this saying bye and then your name. So for example, let me clone this guy. I'm going to clone this text. Oops. You see clone here, clone. And what that does is it creates another one. And I'm going to moving it up a bit and moving it down. And I'm going to put your name here. So like, let's say your name. So let's go with my name for now. Okay. Or by Camp K12. Oops. I want this to be a lot smaller. So 1 meter font size. Okay, great. By Camp K12, move it up. Now let's change the colors of these guys. So the text, this one, let's make it be really fancy. So we're going to use a glow. Fly the hitbox, and we'll make the by Camp K12, which is your name. You can change it on your side. We're going to make it glow a different color. There it is. Blue glow on that one, and orangish glow on fly the hitbox. Okay, guys, the way you add a sound is you go to design mode, and I think there's a option for multimedia. Here it is. If you go to this multimedia, images, sounds, and videos, you can have a 3D video, you can have a 3D sound. A 3D sound is different from a 2D sound. It means that when you're close to it, it's louder, and when you're far away from it, it's softer. It's called positional audio. Sound has a position, because that way when you're playing the game, it's very realistic. Like sound isn't just everywhere. But you can make some sounds be non-positional. Like there's some built-in sounds. There's some built-in sounds you could use. So now we have a finished game, guys. Last step I have to show you is how to publish this guy. So if you go to Remix, then you have two options. You can either make an account on Hatch, and you can publish it by making an account on your own private URL, which has your name on it. Or you can remix anonymously, which means don't have to bother with any email login or anything right now. You just get a unique QR code. There it is. It takes a nice photo of your project. Fly the hitbox. Welcome to my awesome toilet rocket launcher. Okay. And I'm going to remix it. And then it takes a few seconds. It generates your 3D world. It generates a QR code. And it makes it shareable for you instantly. So now your game is on the cloud. You send it to a friend, they can play it. So you guys can scan my QR code. So go ahead and scan my QR code and check out my toilet hitbox game. And let's see how it looks. So the kids who were in my class, they created a 3D rocket ship takeoff. They were very creative. They made me add a narwhal. In fact, I'll just play it for you. I'm going to show you what they asked me to make. They made a game called Fly the Hitbox. I don't know what Fly the Hitbox means, but they added a potato in the game, which right now does nothing, but they added a potato. They added a fish, this is a narwhal actually, a narwhal and a toilet. And most importantly, they coded this rocket ship to take off in a snowy, raining alien world that they created by their own imagination. And behind the scenes, we're running about 4 lines of code in a language called JavaScript. So this is the code that they wrote today in the class. They learned how to, they learned about variables. How do you store a certain quantity in the computer's memory? Then they learned how to use that quantity from the computer's memory and update it. And then they learned about X, Y, and Z axes in a 3D space. So in math class, they're doing 2-dimensional math with X and Y. Today they learned about X, Y, and Z, and they made the rocket move along the Y axis, which is up. They did that in a timer, and so they learned the very foundations of game development, which is how do you make a certain block of logic execute at an interval again and again and again forever. And that's what a timer is. And they learned a bit about milliseconds and seconds and millimeters and meters. And we had a good time. And this is the very beginnings of their coding journey. So that's what they did in my class.